All right, we are live with Drew Angelcor. Andrew Angelcor. So do you usually go by Drew, or like whenever I
Yeah,
see the fights, it's always Andrew? But
yeah. I mean, that's my name is Andrew, but everybody that knows me calls me Drew, so I just it
right,
actually type my own name in, so I'm gonna type what I go by, but I don't mind if you call me Andrew.
no, absolutely. Yeah. So what made you decide to start fighting BKFC?
Yeah. Well, the bare knuckle itself started as a joke, but obviously here I am, so it wasn't. I've been boxing since I was 16. I'm 33 now, so I've been boxing for a long time. I had 25 amateur fights, and then I find my life I got derailed and off track for a few years, and so then when I finally picked back up in boxing, I had never gone pro, and then back in 22, I finally or 2021 I got my I started fighting again amateur just to kind of see if I still had it after a few years layoff, and
Okay.
then I got like three knockouts over the summer, and it was like all right, like clearly I still have it, so I met a guy that helped me get my license and kind of get me going to the professional route, which I had been, uh, aspiring to do since I was a teenager. And so
Okay.
I went pro down in Mexico, made my debut, won by knockout, and then I had a fallout immediately with that guy who I went pro with, who was never my original coach. He was just kind of it all happened, by divine intervention, if you will. And so that my basically my career ended as quickly as it began, and so then I had already had, people on social media like requesting me to go bare knuckle and this and that because somebody I'm friends with kind of planted the seed because I joked with him one time saying, "Yeah, I want to do one bare knuckle fight before I die. It's on my bucket list." And
Sure.
he had told me, "Hey, I know people like I can get you in the game." I said, "All right." So he gave my information to some people, and they had been messaging me, every now and then. Hey, man, you look like you'd be a good fit, this and that. And I had told the guy, let me get my pro experience going in the gloved world, and then maybe I'll jump over there after I build a resume. And then
Okay.
I went pro, but then it fell apart like literally a couple weeks later. And then that I had posted on social media that I won my debut, and so the guy reached out to me and said, "Hey, man, like you ready to go bare knuckle?" And I was like 31 years old, and didn't have anything else to do because like nobody in the glove side was gonna mess with me because I'm an old man in the boxing world. 31's old
Sure.
for one pro fight, and so but in bare knuckle 31's prime real estate. So
Absolutely.
the guy was like, if you sign with me, I can get you a fight and this and that. And so I did, and then within a couple of days of signing with that guy, I ended up getting a contract for a fight in Montana against a guy I never heard of named Timmy Mason, who
Right.
kind of find out he's a legend from where he's from, but I didn't know that, and so obviously if you saw that fight, it was fight of the
Yep.
night. I got knocked on my ass in 5 seconds. It was a whole new world for me, but
Yeah.
I ended up going through a 5 round war, and we both beat the hell out of each other. He brought me to a new level. I fell in love with just the I love how it's like modern day gladiators. Like
Sure.
there's no greater test of just being a warrior, and I love it. I love that there's no hiding from it. I love that there's no faking it. You can't run and hide. You can't you got to have that dog, or you're not gonna make it. And so, uh, after that fight, I was like, yeah, I think I like this, and I just kind of started leaning, and I won, so like I had momentum. And then next thing you know, I ended up taking a fight 10 days notice in Denver against Van Vo. I got another knockout, and they
Right.
kind of just I was like, hey man, this is what I'm doing now. And then
So was
I have fought one glove match though since, so I still do want to like go back and forth. But
okay.
if the momentum is in the glove, I mean the bare knuckle world, I'm going to ride it.
Sure. So was that always the goal though, is to be a boxer? You had no MMA aspirations or anything
Oh
like
yeah,
that,
no,
or
no, I've always done it. Just since I was 16. It's all been stand up.
right? So right now you fight about twice a year. Is that like what you'd like to keep going? Twice a year bare knuckle, or would you prefer to be a little bit more active?
Oh, definitely. If I could be more busy, because I'm 33 now. I don't have time to wait. But in my first fight, I broke 4 fingers, so I had to wait a little while before I could get back
Sure.
in. And
Yeah.
then after my second fight, I was just kind of getting strung along, and there was some issues with promised dates and fights and opponents, and it just kept like falling apart. And then I switched management, and then things got a little bit busier for me. I fought back in February, and then
Yeah.
unfortunately, people kept pulling out, and then the gloves opportunity presented itself in Florida, and I fought under the Jake Paul promotion, and that worked. That was cool. I took that on 5 days notice.
Yeah.
Uh, I didn't get the decision, but it was still a good experience for me. And then from May until now, I had like three different opponents pull out, and so shout out to my opponent Brett Hudson because he wasn't my original opponent on Friday, but everybody else seemed to, I don't know, be scared, I guess. But whatever the reason is, nobody would fight me, and I don't think I did myself any favors by getting rid of him in 69 seconds. Now those guys are for sure not going to want to fight me.
Right. It's kind of disappointing because you and I talked before the Colorado card, and I know who you were supposed to fight, and I thought it was going to be a huge fight for you,
Yeah,
especially being a boxing fan. I mean,
right.
that was a huge fight for you. Who knows? Maybe it comes back around down the line. I know that you called out ODB, old dirty bastard, Bobby Taylor. I think he's ranked third right now. He's looking for a fight, so I mean, it definitely makes sense.
Yeah. So he's already actually agreed. When my manager Shane shared it to the story, when he reshared me calling him out, uh,
Yeah.
he had replied to Shane saying, I'm always game, and Shane screenshotted it and sent it to me. So between me and you and everybody watching, he already agreed verbally to my manager.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, it doesn't make sense not to. He's calling for people. He's ranked, I think, number 2 now. I just looked it up today.
Okay.
And
Oh yeah,
I
he is
got
second.
yeah, I got to be. I'm creeping up on that top 5, and if I'm not in there yet, if they give me that fight and I take care of business, I'm for sure in there. And so, and then Tony, he called out Tony Soto, but Tony's fighting Kroom next month. They're
Right.
pushing to get Bryce Henry against Palomino, and then James Lilly is moving down to 45 anyway. So I feel like
Right.
nobody else makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. I actually talked to James this weekend, and I mentioned that I was going to be on with you, and he said he thinks you're a good dude, and he said once you're in the top 5, if he comes back up to 155, he'd be happy to fight you. But for right now, he's going down to 145. So
Oh yeah,
I mean,
that's me and James are good friends. We actually were just messaging. He's the one who just told me that they're moving around the rankings. He messaged me like an hour ago and told me about that
okay,
I might be moving into the top 5 spot. But yeah, him and I have already agreed on Instagram that we would gladly shed blood with each other and then go out for eggy bread the next day. So me and James are respectful of each other, and we definitely anticipate down the road him and I maybe going for a title eliminator.
sure. So what? So at 16, what made you get into boxing? I mean, like I don't know anything about Barstow. Is it like a hard neighbor? Like like is it? Tell me
So
about it.
Barstow is Southern California, and I'm right in the middle. I'm 2 hours from LA and 2 hours from Vegas.
Okay.
We're like the last pit stop between LA and Vegas. And
Okay.
so I mean, there's a hard part of every city, so I'm not gonna pretend like we're some slum city, like Compton or something like that. But we yeah, we there's not much going on out here, and the true answer to why I got into boxing was because I was always getting beat up as a kid, and I was always the only white kid in the all black neighborhood, and so I
Okay.
always stood out. I never fit in, and I was always I was very small in stature. Like I entered high school at like 4'11", 100 pounds. Like I was a little
Wow.
guy with a big mouth, and so then it was a bad recipe. I was always getting beat up, and so. I remember one day I was at the community center here playing basketball, and I knew there was this like heavy bag boxing setup in the racquetball room in the back, and
Yeah.
I had this idea that I was gonna sneak back there and teach myself how to fight by hitting the bag somehow. And so I asked the lady for the key to that room, and she told me I had to be a part of the boxing program. And I was like, "What boxing program?" And I'd always wanted to get into some type of martial arts to learn how to defend myself because I was
Sure.
sick of getting beat up. And so she gave me this flyer that it said like Tuesday and Thursday from 5 to 7, boxing with Manny Ramos. And so I went in that next day and met Manny, who became my boxing coach for like over a decade. And
Wow.
I had my first fight by the time I was when I was 17. I fought on the army base out here. I fought a soldier and I won by second round TKO. I knocked him out, broke his nose, and I fell in love. It was the first time I'd been in a ring or anything, and I knocked him out. And
Yeah.
I was terrified, but I did it, and so I kind of fell in love with it. Like, oh man, like maybe I am good. And then I kept training in my uncle's garage for the next 2 years with my coach. And then at 19, I got my amateur license. And then I started fighting and all that. And then I ended up on the Shane Mosley amateur boxing team. Me and Shane Mosley Jr. were fighting together. And then I was set to go pro back in 2013. But unfortunately, I made some wrong decisions and ended up incarcerated. And my life took a few wrong turns, and I got lost in the sauce for a couple of years. But by the grace of God, I found my way out, and in 2017, I got sober, and I haven't looked back since. And then that was kind of how I ended up picking back up on boxing because I went back to school, became a personal trainer, a boxing coach here in town at the gym I still work at, and then I was taking my clients to these gyms that I was still connected to for sparring, and I would get in and spar too because I was there, and they were kind of like, "Coach, man, like you're doing all the work and stuff. Why don't you get back in the ring?" And that's kind of how things started picking. Like it just kind of naturally picked up, and that's when I actually first I did a street beef fight, which
Okay, yeah.
yeah. And here's the thing: back then, I never heard of street beefs. I didn't know how big they were as far as the following.
Sure.
But I heard they had like a bare knuckle street leagues beef, and that's why I said at the beginning that it started as a joke because
Okay.
I wanted to do like a street beefs underground, like in my mind it was going to be like a fight club, and I was like, hell yeah, like gritty enough. And
Yeah.
when I posted my street beefs fight, that's when my buddy Mike reached out and said, "Why are you fighting street beefs? You're better than that." And I was like, "Well, I want to do bare knuckle, and they have a bare knuckle street leagues." And he's like, "Bro, I can get you into the BKFC." And then obviously, you see where that
Right.
one. That's why I said it started as a joke. And here we
Yeah.
are.
So is that street beef still? Is it on YouTube or like I'll have to
Yeah,
look for it?
man. If you type in Coach Drew versus Dark Lord, shout out to my boy because he's friends with me on social media. So if he sees this, I am friends with him now, so I'm not talking shit.
That's cool.
But I did knock him out and I beat him up. And that's what
So
picked up traction though. Is I beat the hell out of this guy, and they're like, "Man, like I'm way better than street beefs," and which I am. And so that got the ball rolling.
it's crazy how like a viral clip can completely change your life around. You know what I mean? Like, so I used to work in the funeral industry, and then I've always worked with alligators for a long time. But then I had a couple videos start going viral, and then a company approached me and said, "Hey, we want you to start making videos full time." And like it took off from there and started doing all the social media. But like, I mean, it sounds like with the street beef thing, you know what I mean, that absolutely propelled you. And it's crazy how like now with all the social media and the YouTube and stuff, it just one little thing can totally blow up your life.
For sure, yeah.
So I was going to ask you. So I saw that you're a recent college graduate. Was that always something you wanted to do? Like you always wanted to go to college, or?
Absolutely not. Yeah, again, I can give you all the answers about me, wanting to be this and that and stand up citizen, but the reality is, back in 2020 when the whole world got flipped upside down,
Yeah.
I couldn't work in the gym, didn't have any clients, didn't have any way to make income, and one of my best friends and one of my original clients and co-workers in the gym I work at, shout out to Coach Oppie. He's a counselor at the college here in town, and he told
Okay.
me my big Samoan brother, he said, "Hey, Oos, why don't you enroll in college and you'll get financial aid and that'll help support." And I just had my youngest daughter was born at the same time, so I was really in a, you know, it was a scary time, 2020. Nobody knew what
Sure.
was going on back then. So I actually only enrolled because I needed the financial aid, but being that I'm a very ambitious guy naturally, if I start something, I got to finish it. And so it was
Sure.
one of the things where like, well, I'm a personal trainer. I've already got those credentials. I'm in the gym. I hadn't been fighting yet, but I knew I wanted to be in the field of like personal training and sports medicine type stuff. So I
Okay.
said, well, if I'm going to do this to get the financial aid, I might as well actually focus on getting a degree. So I ended up getting 2 degrees, kinesiology and social science, and and it basically was just a way to help kind of feed my family and then so I did that. Now my wife is so I graduated. Now my wife's in college.
That's cool.
Because that way, when my youngest, my 3-year-old, when she gets to school, my wife will have a degree and she'll get back, into the work force. So, I ended up, like I said, doing it as a way to provide for my family. But again, I followed through and made the most of it. And now I have a foundation. So if I choose after fighting to go back to school, I have that part done.
So do you own your own gym, or you just work out of a gym?
No, my coach Victor, the one you saw in my corner this weekend, he's the owner of that gym.
Okay.
And him and I met back in the day. He's actually a retired MMA fighter. Back,
Okay.
when I was 17, he would have been what, 19. He was an MMA fighter. I was the boxer in town, and that's how we met. He came up to me one day at the gym and was like, "Hey, man, I heard you're the boxer. I got a fight coming up, and I need some striking work. Like, let's get together." So we ended up meeting at our friend Luis's parents' house because we're all kids back then, and we
Yeah.
beat the shit out of each other in the garage. And we were like, "Hey, man, I like you." And that's how we became friends. And after school, he became a personal trainer, and so he was always my strength and conditioning coach during my amateur boxing days. So he's always been on my team. And
Okay.
then fast forward, a decade plus, he kind of reached out to me and was like, "Hey, man, I need somebody with boxing experience to teach my kids class. I want to implement boxing in my program." He was teaching Muay Thai, and they had jiu-jitsu, and they needed a boxing coach, and I'm the only guy out here with all the experience that I have. So a couple years back in 2020, we linked up, and that's how we got back into each other's lives. And I've been a boxing coach and personal trainer at the gym that he owns, and so I've just basically been his right hand for the last 4 years.
Do you guys offer like a bare knuckle now that you're doing bare knuckle? Do you guys have a
Yeah.
specific bare knuckle one, or okay? It's just
No.
I saw like a bunch of these gyms now are offering bare knuckle specific stuff, and like on the Reddit we get a bunch of people that come in and they say, "What do I got to do? I want to start." And all the fighters always tell these people, "Go take a boxing." You get all these kids. Go ahead.
Well, that's the thing is like the kids look up to me and think it's so cool that Coach Drew does it, but we always tell them no. Like, if you have a choice, go do glove boxing. Like
Right.
bare knuckle, it's dangerous. It's savage. It's like, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna say it's the last resort. Like what it is it's what separates the men from the boys, and it's barbaric, man. Which, by the way, I love and I take
Sure.
pride in. But no, I would never advise a young kid to go, because then what are you gonna do? Tell them to go to the school and start beating people up bare knuckle? Like, come on, man.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
so we just say, hey, let's stick to glove boxing, because the other truth is that if you're not even good at taking a punch with gloves on, you're definitely not going to take one without them.
Sure. Okay, so Russ over at Extreme MMA wanted me to ask you, like, if you get Bobby, if do you see it? I mean, is it? You think it's going to be another 5 round war, or do you think you'll be able to put him
I
away?
hope not. I hope
Yeah,
not.
that dude can take a punch and he can give a punch. So
Yeah, and so can I. I mean,
yeah, yeah,
is it possible? Oh yeah, it's definitely possible to get fight tonight with a guy like Bobby,
sure,
but I don't want to. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Just the damage it does to your hands, it sucks. But
right,
I said in the interview I did the other day that I think he has all my respect. He's
sure,
an old tough bastard. I think 4 out of his 5 wins are first round knockouts. So I definitely know he's dangerous. But I just think he's slow, and if I make him miss, and I'll make him pay, and he'll get tired, and I'll put him away probably later at fourth or fifth rounds, because he'll get tired, and I think I'll just keep putting that pressure on him, and I believe that I'll be able to get out of the way, and you know. But I don't think I'd get out of that fight without some damage.
no, exactly, yeah. It's one of those you just hope that you don't end up taking a pretty bad cut, So
Yeah. But I think it's one of those. That's one of those fights where the ultimate winner of that fight is the fans.
yeah, 100%, exactly. So you talked about going through a tough spell. Like, do you care to elaborate on that at all? I mean, like 2017, is that what you said? You went and kind of
Yeah. I mean, again, I'm a very transparent, individual, and I've been open about, my past. I had, substance abuse problems. I've gotten DUIs, been to rehab. Was drinking and smoking and popping pills and just doing a lot of crazy things and making bad choices. And I ended up, like I said, 2013, instead of going pro, I ended up catching a robbery charge amongst other things. And I just, between 2013 and 2017, I just couldn't seem to get it right. And I was
yeah,
living in a revolving door of bad decisions and continued, just living that incomprehensible demoralization, man. It was just like the insanity of doing the same thing, expecting different results, like I said, by the grace of God, in 2017, I found the program and got myself together, and November 14th, 2017 is my sobriety date that I'm proud of. So no fronts, but this November I'll have 6 years, and so I think that I say that proudly because I just said in a recent interview that my message and my hope is to use this platform that I have and to inspire the underdog. I want to inspire the people that might be lost and feel like there's no hope. That there is hope. I don't care where you've been. I've been to some pretty uh, deep depths, some low lows,
Sure.
but here I am now, and it took some work, but there is a solution, and so anybody that's struggling, I hope they find that solution, and that's ultimately what I hope to do is inspire the underdogs in life.
So now, had you found religion prior to going into prison, or was it something that after you got sobriety?
I mean, so it's not that I found religion. It's
Okay.
I believed in God.
Okay.
As a child, like I'd been to church before. I didn't grow up in
Sure.
like I didn't grow up in like a structured household, if that's what you mean. But I like every inmate, born again till free again. You know what I mean? So like,
Sure.
I
Yeah.
feel like we all go through that, for 6 months at a time. We're children of God and we're this and that. But that wasn't what saved me.
Okay.
I would like to say that once I got locked up, it woke me up. It didn't. Once I got locked up the next time, no, it didn't. The junk tanks, nope, it didn't. The DUI, nope, it didn't. I kept hitting my head on that wall, and
Sure.
uh, and like I said, I finally got it together November 14th. Like I said, I walked into the room that saved me, and I did what was suggested. I found, a group of accountable men that helped me and walked me through, what I had to go through. And here I am, and I live that life. And, I stay accountable to this fellowship that I call my brothers. And I just, I do believe in God, and like I said, it takes work, man. It takes work, and
Sure.
but it's worth it. That's for damn sure.
Okay. So I have a question. Is there anybody else coming out of your gym? Are you the only guy that
No,
trains in your area? Okay. I
I'm
just.
the only professional in my town, actually. Like, so
Okay.
I live my town is only 25,000 people, and like I said, I'm right in between LA and Vegas. So when I'm in,
Right.
I actually am driving to Vegas weekly, or LA or Long Beach every week. I have to go to these cities to get sparring with these. I mean, those cities are major capitals
Sure.
of fighting, but it's 2 hours each way. So I have to make a lot of travel arrangements and do a lot to get there. But I'm the only professional fighter in my whole city. There is
So.
one
Good.
city
Sorry.
over 30 miles away in Victorville. There are some pros out there. I go there too as well.
Okay. Who would be some names that you train with that we might know?
Or if you guys follow me on social media, my brother Shane Mosley Jr.
Sure.
One
Sure.
of he was one of my main sparring partners.
Okay. I just wasn't sure if there's anybody else in BKFC
Uh,
that you trained with or.
No, not like not in the BKFC. My friend Mark the Shark, he fights for BYB.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
shout out to Mark. He lives down in Huntington Beach, which is 2 hours the other way. Vegas is north of me, and then like Long Beach, Huntington Beach, LA that's south.
Okay.
I've gone down and trained with him. He's the only other bare knuckle fighter like in my
Right.
area. There's like nobody else. I've never even trained. Oh, that's not true. My boy Julio, Teneri, all these other guys fight for BYB. Nobody in
Okay.
BKFC, but Julio, Coach AJ, the Savage Squad down in Long Beach area. Coach Zay and Puma and all of them. There's a whole group of these guys down in that way, but they fight for BYB. So in the BKFC, I haven't seen anybody else in my area.
So you have one draw on your record. I watched the fight last night. I feel like you clearly won that fight. I feel like it was definitely a hometown decision. Is that something you'd like to run back outside of Louisiana, or like
Without
you're over it?
question. Without
Okay.
question. So here's the thing about that. I take full responsibility for that loss because I took too long to get started. Do I think I got robbed? No, but do I think I won? Yeah, I got the only knockdown. I outscored him 3-1. Even he, and then shout out to Bosnick when he hugged me in the ring after the announcement. He in my ear said, "You won that fight. Keep your head up." So even he was knowledgeable, like he acknowledged that I won. So I'm not
Sure.
bitter about it, but I am. Like, I hate that it looks ugly on my record. It's 3-0-1. That sucks. I don't like the way it looks. If given the opportunity, of course I'd fight him again because I'd pull the trigger right away. But at this point, like I said, I'm trying to go for Bobby Taylor or somebody ranked. Like I'm trying to move.
Sure.
I'm trying to move up.
Absolutely.
If we met again down the road, of course I'd take it because I want to
Sure.
clear that off my resume.
All right. So I would like to know like what you're passionate about, like what's something on your bucket list. You know what I mean? Like bucket list is like a big thing to me. I feel like you always need to be knocking stuff off, and clearly bare knuckle was on your bucket list. So I'm just curious what else is on there and like what else you're super passionate about.
Well, as far as careers or goals, like I would like to, after I'm done fighting, I want to take all my experience and my resume and use that as the to get. I want to open my own boxing gym. I want to have an actual like the gym that I train out of is a functional fitness gym. So there's no actual boxing gym in Barstow. I would love to open up my own, Angelcor Boxing Club, and just obviously with my name and experience as a bare knuckle fighter, it would have some momentum behind it. So that's like
Sure.
that's my goal after fighting. As far as like a dream of mine, this might seem simple, but it's always been my dream to go to New York. And in November is actually my wife and I's anniversary. So we actually are going to be going. So I'm checking that off my bucket list in like 6 weeks. I'm going to
That's cool.
go to New York with my wife. So that's checking off something. And but as far as like careers and goals, I definitely want to open up a boxing gym and just have that outlet for the kids out here because I know what boxing did for me. So if I can get something going out here where we can get a full amateur boxing team going and take over, and make some big moves in the boxing world, I would love that.
All right, so what do you do in your downtime? I mean, I know you got the kids and you do the boxing, but I mean, free time. What does Drew do during his free time?
In my what? What's free time?
Yeah, being a dad, right?
You follow me on Instagram, bro? I'm up at 4 a.m. and I'm fucking running and gunning. No, man, I got we're always doing something, man. I got 3 kids. I got 2 kids play soccer. One my daughter, my oldest daughter's in cheer and dance, and if me and my wife can squeeze 30 minutes in to like watch one of our TV shows together, we do. But bedtime is like 9 o'clock over here, man. So like.
Wow.
Yeah, we're my wife. She's a badass. She goes to school full time. She carries the household. So she's running and gunning. She works out. She does stuff. I'm training client. We're both just running on all cylinders. So like when we finally get to breathe, we just want to relax, man. So
Sure.
we I don't know. We go camping this weekend. We're actually going camping. So we do like things like that every now and then. We have friends, that'll invite us over to like birthday parties, and we socialize. But the truth is, man, like we do so much so often that our enjoyment is just kind of chilling at home, putting the phones down, and just like watching a movie like that.
Right.
It's like we don't want to go to fucking Disneyland every weekend. That's annoying. Like,
Sure.
we're taking a trip to New York, like I said, and that's a big deal. We look forward to that. But the reality is, we do enough on our day to day. So if we can just not do anything all day Sunday, that's a good day.
Is it just you and the wife going to New York, or are you taking the whole family?
Yeah. Hell no, man. Those kids are staying here.
You're like, I want to enjoy myself,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. Like, but you don't hear me? It's a vacation, bro. Why if we take the kids, it defeats the purpose.
Right. Okay, so you fought in Denver, New Orleans, Montana, Florida, Mexico. Like, where's been your favorite place to fight so far?
Oh man. Well, I didn't like the results of New Orleans, but New Orleans is fun because my coach, 2 of the other coaches, their spouses, we all went and we were able to go enjoy the Bourbon Street experience. Bourbon
Sure.
Street, I think it's called. And we had like a late flight the next day, so we were able to like do the New Orleans tour thing. That was fun. Florida was cool, but I didn't have my coach with me, so that sucked. But my partner flew out on his own dime, and on the way home, we had a layover in Philadelphia, so we got to do like the Rocky steps. I got to run the
Oh,
same
sure.
steps as Rocky, and so that was a cool detour after the fight. And then Denver's always a fun city. I fought there twice now, and I got 2 knockouts, so I have a
Right.
good resume in Denver, so I like that. So everything has its own little piece of history in my heart.
So I see you picking at that little bit of scab on your. I mean, is that all you got on your hand? Is just that little bit of a cut?
Yeah, that right there is the only abrasion, and then this knuckle has a little bit of swelling. But other than that, I'm A-okay, man.
So ideally, how long till we see you fight again?
Well, I mean, I already called Bobby out today and said by the end of the year, so I would hope
Sure.
maybe get a little December fight going. Because like I said, there's gonna be a week in November that I'm gonna be gone with my wife, so I obviously can't fight, until after that. Or maybe, I mean, actually, shit, man. If they can give me the turn right back around and get in like the last week of October, first week of November, I think Tony Soto and then fight October in
Right.
Virginia.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering if you could try to get on that card or not. Otherwise, they have that big new card that's going to be in Utah in the beginning of December. So
Oh, I didn't see that. Damn,
Yeah.
you saw it close. Hey, man, hey, thanks for telling me. I'm going to push that because Utah's right up the street from me too.
Right, it's going to be in Salt Lake City. So I
Oh,
believe Dave Feldman said it was going to be either the 2nd or the 3rd of December.
man, I'm glad you told me. I'm about to jump on the phone with my manager after this call.
Yeah. So
That's
yeah,
right.
they announced
go.
Utah and Oklahoma. I guess Oklahoma sanctioned it too. So Oklahoma's coming up, but Utah was the big one that they announced
Well,
over the
I can
weekend.
see them doing Oklahoma because I think Bobby Taylor's from there, isn't he? Or somewhere close.
I know he's from down south. I'm not exactly,
Yeah.
but
He's from
yeah,
one of the hillbilly states, so I'm sure he'll bring all the rednecks out. So I'm sure they'll put it over there.
yeah. All
I
right.
don't care.
Is there anything you'd like to promote? I mean, I appreciate all your time. I've took up. I feel like time's at a premium to you, and I've took up 30 minutes now. So is there anything you'd like to promote or give a shout out to or anything? Or
Well, I definitely want to say, well, thanks for having me. But big shout out to Slaughterhouse. Shout out to Guerrilla Warfare. Shane and Ryan, my managers. My whole Guerrilla Warfare and Slaughterhouse team. Thank you, you guys. All of Barstow. Barstow stand up. Shout out to my amazing wife who holds it down and allows me to do all this. Thank you to all my sponsors. I have so many people that back me up and support this dream and fund it. And shout out to all my sparring partners and all the coaches that help me. I go to a lot of gyms and a lot of coaches help me. Just again, everybody who believes in me, everybody who tags me and shares my stuff. I'm very proud of where I'm from, and I can see that a lot of those people are proud to be here too now. So
sure.
thank you to all the supporters in the BKFC. Thank you to Feldman and the whole organization for giving me this platform. I thank you to God for giving me this second chance at life and allowing me to live my dream and motivate and inspire others. And thank
Great.
you for everybody who gives me a chance and a microphone and a chance to talk my talk.
Sure. Well, we appreciate it, and I can't wait to. Like I said, I think it'd be awesome if they do get you in Utah. I just want to see you in the ring. Twice a year is not nearly enough,
Oh
So.
man, I'm going for a third time this year. Third time's a charm, baby.
And hopefully we see you in the top 5 this week. So that'd be cool.
Yeah. Let's hope so. I think so. I think I might be cracking that top 5. Who knows?
Yeah. All right, you guys can find Angelcor on Facebook and Instagram. I'll go ahead and post the links in the video, and I appreciate it. Thanks for your time, bud.
Hey, thank you, brother. I'll see you soon.
Sounds good.